It is October 30th. It's been almost a month since I've posted anything as of this recording. I can tell you that since I stopped posting uh, physical reality, I'm totally immersed in it. And not so much as like I used to be. Um, I'm aware of things, and it's not always pleasant. Um, I'm even aware of things in my own life, and it's not always pleasant. You know, I, sometimes it's happened within the last 3 weeks. I knew something was going to happen to a point where I would have to do something. A or B. Neither A or B was any better than the other. But before any of this happened, I had no idea what it was about, or what the subject was, topic was, anything. And what was even more confusing was the answer was someone's comfort zone. Does that make it right for them? I don't even know if I'm making sense without getting specific. But for myself, I've seen things and I see things. And I already know there's going to be a decision. And, sometimes the topic eludes me. Sometimes I know it's either this or that. But that's been going on. And, there's other things that have been going on that are interesting and fun. And it's because I'm interacting physically with everything. It's personal. I can't go, it's like tell everybody, oh, this sign changed, the letter changed in this image. Uh, there's a sign that the A changed. For me, nobody else is going to know this sign. It's a personal store, that's not anywhere else in the world. So, um, so I've seen those things that people are calling the Mandela effect. And I'm having any experiences I'm having are more. They're not. They're not physical. Like in my book, where I wrote about all the things that happened from 15 to the middle of 17, or right around the beginning of 17. Those things were physical things that were happening that were mind blowing. Now it's more of an inner thing. I'm especially. I say especially because I stopped posting on YouTube, and I really don't know if that's the case or not. I just know it's easier for me to focus, not to have to I got to make a video on this, and I got to get it out. And I've been making little videos here and there, but no, I'm not putting anything out. It's like I get a little idea. It's a message for me, and that's what all this started with. It's still a message for me, but am I posting it? No. Most of the stuff's personal anyway, and although I do think it could help people, it would be more, let me put it this way. I started writing the second book, but I kind of, I start and then I stop and I stop because it's going to be different. The experiences aren't there the way they were for this book. They're there in a different way. So I'm thinking I need to find another way to write this book. I don't want it to be a self-help book. But I started writing a bunch of different fictional stories, and each of them are based on, there's 7, I think, now. It's like I just started writing one, and I would write the idea of the main character, and then I would write the premise of the story, and it would be based on an experience I had. For instance, the one character would have orbs come down and communicate with them, and the whole book would be based on that and things they can do because of that or whatever. The messages that came in gave them to, and I can expand on that. I can, and that's, and each character, it's based on it like that. And at some point, I plan on having them all interact with each other in the same chapter of each book. But going on with that, that's tough because right now I'm still outlining each story, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to interact with get all of them to interact with each other. That I like. I enjoy doing that because I can take the experience I had and expand on it. And if it's a personal experience, it's now in a fictional story, and I don't have to worry about what I'm putting out there if it's personal. That's something I really want to do. I really want to get on that. Touch on it here and there, but it's not launched because I really haven't started any of the books as a whole piece. But the Mind Beyond Matter, the Mandela Effect, Book 2, or whatever I'm going to call that, what I've come to is it should be based on the things I've learned and how I've applied them. I don't know how big a book that'll be because I'm still not sure what I'm doing, but I still see me changing things, creating things. If I get myself in a funk, I mull around for a little bit and I'm going, wait a minute, what am I doing? I get within myself, and next thing I know, I'm saying, oh, I'm shifting myself into a timeline where this, and I say it that way because that's the terminology I understand. Use your own terminology. It's within your power to be happy instantly, and it might not be instantly. It might be a nanosecond. But it's up to you. The thought comes in, take it and do it, and go within your heart, and bring that light, that happiness, that joy in your heart. Think of something. Think of something that makes you happy. Think of something that you love. Just stay there. And I'll do that. And for me, that's what I say. I'm shifting myself into a timeline where I am in a much better mood. And it practically happens immediately. And I feel like there's more to it. I mean, there's a belief there. There's a knowing. No matter how crabby a mood I'm in, there's a knowing. That's what it is. It's not a belief. It's not even a truth. It's just a knowing. It's a knowing. That's for a lot of this creating and changing things. And the thing is with me, I think about that and I'm like, okay, I've grown and I know how to feel my way through things. When I apply it, I still don't, I should be living my life that way because it always pulls me right out and I get right on track. But right now I realize there's other things going on as well. Today, for instance, I just wanted to get on here and say, hey, nothing to report and get off. And I don't even know what I'm talking about, but today has been gray. And ominous? That's not the word. I can't even say it. Bland. Nothing. Now today the bar is closed. And Eric, my roommate, he's off in Denver shopping for the bar, and the other 3 apartments are far enough away. There's nobody, nothing here. It's just me, and normally I'd pack up and go ahead to Hot Springs or whatever, and for some strange reason, I went to sleep at about 10 o'clock at night. That doesn't usually happen. Usually I'm working, and I got up at 5 because Prince got me up to eat, 7 because Buttercup got me up to eat, and I went right back to sleep both times. And that's usually I'd get up after 5 or 7. Now I woke back up at 12:15. It's 14 hours, and there's just no way I slept that long. I was still tired even after all that time. And I wake up to uh, cold and rain, cold enough that it should have been snowing, but it wasn't. It was just raining, and you can't see the mountains. I can't see 100 yards in front of me, looking at the houses and stuff. 100 yards, and it's just white and gray. And this reminds me very much of 2015, September, October. We're in the end of October now. Very much. I've also noticed shifts and changes on a larger scale than just me, but I'm over chasing those things people call Mandela effects. It's I understand it's there. It's it happens, and people see them, and they come into the bar all the time talking to me about, you're not going to believe this, but yes, I am going to believe it. And then I try and explain to them that you just shifted into another timeline. Keep going. Bring some happy thoughts with you next time. The month that I've been just concentrating on what's going on around me. A lot of it might seem like drama, but just a lot of it is there for me to grow and to expand myself. I'm very excited for a lot of things and very apprehensive about some things, but I bring it on head on. If I give myself a second, I could just shift. But I think it's more to it than that right now. We got these energy waves coming in, and that very much could be what I'm feeling all day today. Is just, I kept saying, I got the whole day to myself. Everything's done. I think I still got to get the trash, but everything's done. There's a couple other things keep popping into my head. Why are you doing that? There's a couple things I need to take care of, but I figured today I could just do whatever I want. And, after waking up at 12:15, getting up, getting showered, getting dressed, I went outside, got in the car. I went to the store to get coffee. I could have made coffee here. I just wanted to get out, I think, because when I was sitting in the parking lot at the store, not 5 blocks away, I'm like, I just feel like I should be home. And I'm like, let me just sit in the car and meditate and figure out where I'm going to be, where I'm going to go. Because normally it'll just come to me. I'll just think of a certain hot springs in whatever direction. And I'm like, okay, do I see myself in there? I mean, it popped in my head. Do I see myself in it? Yes or no or whatever. And I go. Or whatever. Not this time. Just wanted to be home. And I don't understand that, but okay. This is where I am most of the time anyway. But this time it's different because the energy's clear. There's nothing here. No noise downstairs from the bar, the restaurant, and nothing next door, the next room. It's so dreary out there. I don't know if this will pick up, but it's just. Yeah, that towel's actually covering up a hole that I gotta cover up with. It'd be 20 degrees in here. But that's just it. I mean, and I don't want to go nowhere. Part of me wants to go out, but I just know. I don't know. I feel like today I'm just supposed to take a break, chill, or whatever, but I've meditated. How many times can I do that? I guess I could do it all day if I wanted. I keep doing it to get away from that anticipation, anxious, and I'm not preparing for anything. It's like It's like physically, emotionally. I don't have I do have a lot going on. But to me, it's physical, and life is much more than physical. I'm more in touch with my own self, my feelings, and I'm interacting with things on another level. I don't even know, and I'm learning. It's interesting, especially when I succeed at something. And like right now, there's a couple of things out there that I am in waiting for. I mean, it's like I already know something not real specific is going to come into play or happen, and I'm ready to approach it. Problem is, I just don't know exactly what the topic is, what it is, what it's about. Um, there's a couple that I do have an idea. Could break it down to love, money, and I mean it's not even that because I don't know. How do I put this? I know I have something coming up that I have to make a decision on that won't be wrong either way. It's just going to affect my life, or it should affect my life either way, really. All right, I'm done babbling. This is. I feel like there's a shift happening now. October 30th. I also wanted to mention that I have written stuff down. October 15th and 16th, I wrote stuff. No, is that true? No, earlier, 9th? I forget. All right, whatever it was. It was early in October. I wrote a few paragraphs or something. There's no way I would have written this down. And I don't remember writing it down. I do not recall typing it out. I opened up my Word to start writing, and right at the top was this title that I recognized, but I'm like, what could that be? I mean, I clicked on it, and I read my thoughts. I read my thoughts, the thoughts that I've had for the past 3-4 weeks, months, since I've gotten off of YouTube. I had like almost word for word. A lot of it was verbatim in my head. What I wrote. That, I remember going over in my head. I never typed it in. I never wrote it down. It was not there. So besides knowing that there's been a couple of shifts this month or whatever, wow, because I went in there and I'm reading it and I'm going, this is impossible. I kept trying to think back. When did I type this? It's going to come to me any second. I kept thinking, I'm about to get a download. I'm about to get the download that tells me when I wrote this. Didn't happen. Also, I've been getting ringing in the ear, and the first thing I say is, if this is for my good, my higher spiritual self good, for me, as in good intent, I accept this completely. Bring it on. If not, send it away. And a couple of times it stayed, would come in, and then just, that was it. One time in particular, I remember it came in, I said that to myself and then out loud, and it stopped, but I wasn't sure if it was just done or if it left because. And I don't know, not 5-10 seconds later, it came back, and all I had to do was project that thought. I didn't even go through the motions to project that thought, and it stopped right away. I found that really neat. But a couple of them that came in, I felt it was okay to bring them in. I'm not going to say any of them are comfortable. Like, oh, that feels like a nice ringing. I'm going to let that one in. If that's ever happened, I just wasn't taking notice. But recently, I've been, looking for that. Is this annoying, or is it soft? Do I feel like it's okay to bring in? Do I not? You know what? I'm just going to say, if it's okay to let it come in for my highest good, bring it in. If not, then it stops. But I've been listening for a tone. It's all kind of vaguely annoying. I mean, none of it is like, oh, that's so pleasant, give me more. Oh, what else? There's so many things because, like, things I've come across so many times. Wish I had the camera on, driving down the street and having some deer just walk out in the middle of the road. I mean, a big deer with big horns in the middle of a road with houses on both sides. It's like the speed limit's 25. This is why, because these things just walk around people's backyards like it is their home, I'm sure. I know, just stuff like that. Wish I would have been pretty neat. But that's the other thing, I think. When I see these incredible mountains and the sun beating off them and how beautiful it is and how much I want to share it. And first thing I think is, you know what? It's great to share. Nobody's getting it like you are right now. Just enjoy it. Just live now, be here now, experience this moment. And some of the sunsets over these mountains. I mean, I want to say both incredibly beautiful and geometrically impossible. I mean, some of the things, I'm looking at these beams of light coming from this sun that is supposed to be billions of miles away, and I'm like, it's absolutely impossible for that light to be going that way, and that way. Absolutely. Oh, it's shining off the clouds, bouncing off the horizon, or it's just coming from the atmosphere. That's why it looks like that. All right, whatever you tell me, it's like I have no way to prove that, but there's some of the things just don't match up with that. And it just seems like the sun is a lot closer. I've already been in these conversations. This is like one of my old videos. So I've been thinking about, and the simulated sun patterns, and all of a sudden the Earth is flat. Speculating and just chatting here. I was thinking today, if we were put somewhere else because of whatever reason, they got a few things wrong. All these Mandela effects. No, that's not true. I was going to say they all could have happened at the same time, and we're just catching them as we go along. But that's not the case. We know that's not the case. Especially with flip-flops and such, and tidy cats being a flip-flop for me. So, I mean, for me, and I just still kick around different things because of the fictional stories in the books that I'll write. I'm like, well, you know what? Infinite timelines and quantum could be this way in some other universe. Let me write this. And I think about things like that. But, I mean, we know what's going on. We got to stop fooling ourselves, right? Because, even though I am doing very well, I'm very happy with what I have. There's still other goals I have and other things I desire, and I'd like to be. There's just things, and I'm still jumping out there creating them. There's another whole paradigm of life coming in here, but it's not gonna. It's changing so slowly that what do you do? You're not just going to sit around and wait. You got to live your life, still go about, but you can change your life. I think that's the point. You don't have to do and be what they say out here, okay? You don't have to. Yes, recently I've been getting a lot of my information from out there, and I should just go within. I know this. I'm not out there in a bad way or anything, but good enough chat, huh? Sure, I can sit here and keep going. I wonder when I'll look back on this or see if you guys will ever get this, because I really seriously doubt I will post. If I do, it's going to be maybe something happened, or because right now it's not me posting on Mandela effects. I just can't anymore. Even when I see one now, this has happened to me before, but in a different way. I feel like, but it has happened to me before. Like, for instance, when the S left Cheez-Its. It was Cheez-Its with an S for me. A lot of people say it was a Z on the end. But for me, it was an S. It was something that they had at the bar at the time I worked here. And there was a big box of them up here. And I walked by one time looking at it going, well, I bet the S comes off of that. And the next day, it was gone. I think I brought it up in a video, but I even said then, I'm not making a big deal out of it. It's not, I don't care. I get it. I get that something's happening. and I feel that we can utilize this information and use it for your good, our good, as a collective, as a group. I think it's real important for us to understand how to use it individually. I think a lot of people do. I think there are a lot of people out there now going, well, check it out. They're calling it the Mandela effect. I can't believe they're just catching on to this now. I know that's got to be going on. And I'm sure it's a large amount of people. They ain't going to come out here and tell us what's going on. They probably realize that it's better for them if they figure it out on their own. So I got this new, I got the Imagine Dragons new album. At least it's new for me. It's actually their second album. I don't think, I picked through it real quick. I haven't heard any of this stuff before, so I don't know if any of this stuff's popular or not. But the first and third album I listened to, I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea these guys existed. And like a couple of the songs, I'm like, God, I feel like I've heard that before. Anyway. What have I missed not posting? I don't know. I don't post. I've gone on. I've watched. I think a Quantum of Conscious. A couple of his things. I've checked out a couple of spiritual pages they were talking about. It's funny. I'll just listen to some of their stuff, and they use the word shift, and I'm like, ooh, I got to listen to that. At least that's a trigger word for me. And I'd have to say every time they say something, it resonates. Yeah, there's a couple of things but I don't get on as much to do that. I've been really busy with work. Not complaining about that. That's, I'm trying to think, when would I have had time to sit here and edit a video? And the time thing has been messing with me here and there. I don't know if a couple of times it's happened. Missing an hour, adding an hour, and the whole 14-hour sleep thing. I know I didn't sleep no 14 hours. I only got up twice to feed them, and I'm a quarter after 12. You got to be kidding me. And still tired? No. So I had to force myself up at that point. But I realized maybe is it the weather? I didn't know what the weather was. I was laying in bed. So just to come on and say nothing to report, or just to come on and say, here, it's an eerie night, man. Is it mischief night? Is it because I'm alone? No, I need to be alone right now. Yeah. Apparently, I needed to talk some stuff out. So what do? Sit and watch a movie? Meditate again? Go pull some of my own tarot cards? That's what I would do. And yeah, then I'll go do that, and I'll come up with the same answer. I'll tell you what cards I'd pull right now. Just because I know what's going on and I know what's coming, I'd be able to tell you what tarot cards I'd be pulling out. With the ones I knew the meanings to. There's a couple more than a couple I'd have to look up. But I mean, I know all the power cards. I know. Well, anyway, good talk.